Simmers, what is up? And welcome back to my channel. I'm Pepper, and today is the rest of the renovation build from the Besties household. And so this time I'll be furnishing and doing the inside, and so you'll be able to see the rest of that build. And for the people who didn't see the first video, you can definitely see the first part of the video in the link that I'll put down below. And so you can just click on that if you do want to see the outer part of the build that I did. If you just want to see the furnishing part, then you can definitely just look at this video. But as you can see, I did start out with decorating the front porch. The original build didn't have anything on the front porch, so it was pretty boring, and so I did just want to add just a little something. The family that I did put into this household is different than the Besties household. If you do know or don't know, the Besties household is Liberty, Summer, and Travis. And so Liberty, Summer, and Travis are three besties that kind of have a little bit of a love triangle. But the family that I decided to put in here is very different. They're completely different. I decided to put a grandmother, mother, and a daughter. Or daughter with her mother and her daughter, if you want to look at it that way. So that's what I decided to do. This room right here, I did decide to keep some of what was in there. It was kind of a little bit of a dainty room, so I did decide to keep that kind of vibe. I think that it's Summer's room. I'm pretty sure. But in my story, it's going to be the adult daughter's room, which is also the adult mother of the teenager. That right there is the teenager's room. I decided to make this the teen's room because, I mean, it already had kind of teen vibes. So I think that room belonged to, I don't even know. I don't know which room belonged to who, to be honest. Maybe it was Travis, I want to say, or it could have been Liberty. I don't know. All I know is that for my story, it ends up being the teenager's room. And so I do end up having her be a little bit into music. So I did keep the guitar theme, but I think I also added photography in there as well. So I think I add some like photos and things like that into the room as well. I don't think I added a camera. Or maybe it was like more into drawing that I put it. Yeah, I think it might have been drawing because I did put the pencil holder on the desk, and then I also put like sketch. Yeah, I put sketch pictures around. So I'm pretty sure that's what I ended up going with. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely, if you want to download this house, you could customize it however you want. I mean, it's pretty much what everybody does anyway. And if you do want to download this, you can find it on the gallery using my gallery name SIMplyPepper1, or you can use hashtag SIMplyPepper and you'll be able to find it there. But I do keep the 3 bedrooms. I basically kept all the rooms that were in the original build. So there were 3 bedrooms, and then they had the open kitchen with the living room and a bathroom. And so I ended up keeping all of those rooms within the house. I just switched the layout around a little bit so that it wouldn't be such a long house. And so, yeah, you could see that that's what I ended up doing. Here, I'm just putting a bunch of posters on the wall. I figure when I think of a teenager's room, I just think of a bunch of posters being everywhere. When I was a teenager, per se, I didn't have too many posters. I did have an NSYNC poster, though, I will say I'm guilty of. And I did forge their signatures on the posters myself because I had went to an NSYNC concert. Okay, this is embarrassing, but I did go to an NSYNC concert, and I didn't really get to meet them or anything. It's not like I had backstage passes. I was only like 11 years old. And I ended up waiting. Wow, NSYNC concert at 11 years old. I'm really showing my age here. But anyway, so I didn't wait for them or anything. I mean, I was 11. It's not like I could like stay overnight and just kind of like backpack at the behind the concert hall until they go into their tour buses. Like, I don't know. I wasn't living that kind of life at 11 years old. But I was bummed that I didn't get to meet them or anything. But I ended up going home with a poster, and I signed it myself because I just thought that'd make me feel better. And it did. So whatever, I have no regrets. But anyway, we'll keep that between me and you guys. And so right now I'm working on the bathroom, getting back to the build. And I wanted to make this bathroom a little bit more spacious than I usually do, just because there are 3 women living in this bathroom. In this bathroom, wow, in this house, in my story. So I wanted to kind of just give a little bit more space, and some counter space as well. And so I tried to play around a little bit about what to do around it, but I wanted to keep it pretty simple because I don't like to add too much to my builds, because I do like to make them pretty easy to download. I have been a victim of a very slow computer playing The Sims, and so I do like to keep those people in mind. The people that have trouble loading things. So I do keep my builds custom content free, as well as I try to limit how much I have in there, but still keeping it interesting. I still want to add stuff. I still like the clutter, and I still like having items around the house that make it look lived in. But I don't like adding unnecessary ads. Like, I know there's a lot of people who do like really, really cool stuff with their builds, like where they mix 2 pieces of furniture to make a whole other piece of furniture, or they mix things to make the things look like they have flower pots, or like, I don't know, they just make completely new items out of like the items that we have, and I think it's amazing. But I know that when I used to try to download those builds, it would be really pretty hard for me to do, just because there was a lot of like the move objects and stuff. I do use move objects, but when everything in the build has move objects, I don't know, I think it just makes it a little bit harder to load. But that's just been in my experience. So I just like to keep my builds pretty simple so that they could be easily downloaded by people. This is the grandmother's room that I'm doing now. I did give her a little knitting kit. I also wanted to make it look like a little bit modern. Like, I didn't want her to be, a little bit too out of touch, out of fashion. Not fashion, but style. And so I kind of made it a little bit older looking with like the neutral colors and like the wood and things like that. But I did want to make it look a little classy, and I don't know, I wanted to make it seem like, when I did first person view for like the teenager or whatever, she would like go into that room and actually feel like she was going into her grandma's room. So I think later on I do add a rocking chair as well. So I think anybody who does a grandma's room adds a rocking chair, or any grandparent, right? Because it's kind of like the only thing that we have that goes along with grandparents in the Sims world right now. But yeah, so I just used the rocking chair to kind of symbolize that. But hopefully we get a Generations pack soon. That's what I'm really hoping for. I hope that we can get a Generations pack that really focuses more on the elders as well as babies and pretty much every generation except adults and young adults, because I'm sick of the young adults and adults. Are you sick of them? I'm sick of them, because it's like, even I could tolerate adults a little bit more than young adults, and I think it's just because so much of this game focuses on young adults, and it's like we don't even care anymore. Like, there's just too much to do for the young adults and not enough to do for everyone else. Like, I don't see my 80-year-old grandmother ice skating or bowling or, I don't know, even like she doesn't even go to the restaurants because like she, had some issues with her stomach in the past where now she can't be outside that long, especially in a restaurant eating, because she has to go to the bathroom super fast. And sorry to put you on blast out there, Grandma, but I'm just saying, like, we have to be, realistic with our elders in the Sims world. And it seems to be that knitting is the only exciting thing for them in this game right now. That makes any sense. So I don't know, I'd like to see more, even more arts and crafts things for them, but even just more interactions for them to do with like their grandkids or even their own kids. I feel like things are very conversational. Like they can talk like about things like that came with the parenthood pack, but they can't, like, I don't know, interact like on a deeper level where it feels like, special. Like there's a special time between a grandparent and a grandchild, or even a parent and a child. I don't feel like they have like very special moments or anything like that. But yeah, I feel like that's what the game is missing a lot of. But everything that is actually, of any substance with them, I feel is in your mind. Like you have to make it up in your head and then kind of pretend. And then there's not even a memory system to keep track of like what actually happened. So like if you do decide to be this amazing story creator and then you put all this time and effort into this amazing story, unless you're doing video recordings and screenshots and adding captions and things like that to your videos, like there's no memory of it whatsoever. It's like 2 days go by after your dog died and that's it. Like it's like it doesn't even matter. And I get it, timing in The Sims is a little bit different. Like 2 days isn't necessarily 2 days, because like you also have to think like after 2 days it's probably been like 2 months, because the seasons go by weekly. I don't know, things like that. But just the timing in itself is kind of weird in The Sims. So I guess like if you think about it like that, then 2 days might be really longer than 2 days. But still, it just seems a little off. I don't know. I feel like some things should be longer, some things should be shorter. It just depends. Like I don't care if Mary Sue down the street died when I didn't even know her, like I met her one time when she brought some nasty fruitcake to my house, and that was like the only time I ever talked to her, and then she died, and all of a sudden I'm depressed for 8 days. Like what is that? That makes no sense. And then you find out that your husband is cheating on you with a maid, and then you get over it in just like 3 days. Like it makes no sense. Like somebody who you devoted your life to, that you have a bunch of kids with, and you even got a dog with, and maybe even own a restaurant with, and all of that. And in 3 days, guess what? He cheated on me with a maid, but that's it. I'm over it, because at least I got a nicely decorated house and I had some bomb juice, It just doesn't make any sense sometimes. But I could rant about that all the time, but it would probably be smarter if I talked a little bit more about this build. So I did renovate the kitchen. I renovated the whole house pretty much, but I did take out that little breakfast table thing because I had the bathroom there. So since I didn't have an empty wall, I just took it out completely, and I figured it didn't really matter because the stools were there. And there are 3 stools, and there's 3 people that live in this house, so I just thought that made sense. And then I love putting like the backsplash behind the kitchen stuff. I just think it's super pretty. Even when like I go to see new apartments, or like when I go to people's houses and things like that, I really take notice of that. And I just always thought that it was something really pretty in houses. And so that one I think is nice because it's pretty neutral, but it doesn't take away from the color of the counters, which is what I really wanted to stand out more, along with the wood. And so I thought it looked really nice. And I did add that little calendar in the wall. I like adding that. I feel like it adds some realism to have a calendar like around the kitchen or somewhere like that. And then for the living room, I do change up the living room quite a bit as well. My intention was to keep as much furniture as I could from the original build so that I could renovate it, but I could really just change it around and show like what I can do with what I have. But I decided to save that challenge for another time because it was just ugly. It was just ugly furniture. And I was like, well, maybe I'll keep this and maybe I'll do that with this. But then I was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to get rid of it. So I ended up getting rid of a lot. But right now, yeah, I like that sofa because I just feel like it's a really family sofa because it's pretty big. And the TV I left on the smaller side because I thought, you know, if they're like these 2 single women and a teenager, which is really 3 single women, then they probably are, you know, not having a huge TV from like, I don't know, finances or anything like that. Not to take anything away from single women, because let me tell you right now, I'm all for an empowered single woman that knows how to pay her bills and treat herself right. And, you know, any single woman can get herself a big TV. Not to say anything like that. But in my storyline, I just wanted to add something that, you know, I was a little bit more familiar with, which is a single mom that didn't really have amazing finances. And so now she's very much well off. And my mom, to be honest, is like one of the most amazing people that I know in my whole entire life. Just because I've seen her work for everything that she has now. But I did see her struggle when I was younger. And so in this storyline, the child is still a teenager. And so I wanted to put it like they have a really, really nice home that maybe is already paid for because of grandma. But, you know, that they still live a pretty frugal life. And that was my intent. And so hopefully that is what you see by what I put in here. But yeah, so I wanted to keep, I had put the living room like a little bit cluttered, not cluttered, but like close together. So I wanted to open it up a little bit. So that's what you see there. I kind of edited it so that I could be a little bit more open and have a nice bookshelf there. I really like adding plants, and since I wish I added more plants to the inside, honestly, because since I did put the grandmother in this family as a gardener, I did want her to be, you know, represented in the plants. So I did put a nice amount of plants within the house, but I don't feel like it was something that was too obvious. So I would have liked to put more, but there's a good amount to represent that there. And then I also don't like a lot of the curtains in the game, but so I tend to use a lot of the basic ones just to kind of fill that interior, but I don't really use like any of the really, really nice ones unless I'm decorating a themed room or something like that, or if I have like a specific story in mind of like what I want things to look like. I just pretty much leave the curtains pretty basic. But I'm just adding lanterns to the backyard. I thought that would be pretty nice. When you go back out there and you try to, you know, hang out with your friends or family or whatever, you have a grill out and then it kind of leads to the evening, then the lanterns would light up, and I thought that would be really pretty. And then I do add that trash can back there. Some things that I forget to add sometimes is trash cans. So mostly on the outside of the build, and in the kitchen I tend to remember it, but for the outdoor trash can I tend to forget that sometimes. But I made sure to put it in this build, so there it is. And this is mostly what it ends up looking like. I do add a little bit more to the living room since there was kind of like that empty space there. But I think I end up adding some paintings to the wall, and then a fish tank later on. Yeah, there we go. There's that fish tank. And so I decided to add that just because I thought that it was a good space to fill. And I don't know, you could take it out, put a Christmas tree there if you have seasons and you want to, you know, get festive up in there. You can add a tree when the time comes, or you can pretty much edit it to do whatever you want. I mean, it's The Sims. You can do anything that you want with The Sims. Be anything that you want in The Sims. Well, you know, as far as they'll let you with what they have on there right now. But yeah, I kind of fooled around with those frames a little bit till I got what I was really looking for. But this is pretty much it. It was a nice build. I think I added a canvas in there just because it was pretty plain. I didn't have any activities in that room and I wanted to add like a little bit something. And so I added that in there, and then I do add some clutter items just to kind of make it seem a little bit more lived in. I do wish we had more clutter items just because I feel myself, I catch myself using the same clutter items over and over, and I don't really like to use debug just because I feel like the search in debug is so exhausting, and you really have to like really go through that to get the right things for the things that you want, and it could be amazing. I mean, people do amazing builds with debug items. I just don't have the patience, and so I just don't even do it. But I think, you know, future builds, I'll definitely have some debug items in there just to make it a lot more customized and things like that. But I like to download builds where I can customize things myself and that I can add debug items into my house as I play and as I earn them. Like if I find posters in city living or those little not globes, or are they globes? Like the ones that you shake? Snow globes, there you go. So like if you find snow globes or things like that, or if you buy spices, I could put that in my kitchen, you know, little things like that. Or if my kids get projects in school, I could put that in their room. So I like to kind of fill my house as I go because it kind of shows, I feel like it's the only memory system I have because it kind of shows what my Sims have been through or like things that they've progressed with. And I don't know, it's kind of like my little memory system. But I do put this little table in the hall and kind of put some decorative items on there as well. And so that ends up looking pretty cute, I thought. But we are going to be coming to the end of the build here soon. So I just wanted to let you know, remind you if you wanted to download this build, you can download it on the gallery using my gallery name SIMplyPepper1 or #SimplyPepper. And if you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And you can also click the bell for notifications for every time that I post. And that's pretty much it. You can stay tuned for screenshots, and I'll see you in the next build. Take care, everybody. Bye.